What if the loudest legends in heavy metal didn't just live on the edge, but died in ways that still feel impossible to believe? Behind the thunder of guitars and roaring crowds, there are stories so shocking that many fans never even heard them. Some collapsed at the very peak of fame, others were taken in moments no one saw coming, and a few left the world in ways that still spark questions years later. These weren't ordinary artists. They were the wild, fearless faces of heavy metal. But what really happened when the music suddenly stopped? Get ready, because these are the 27 most unbelievable heavy metal icon deaths you'll never forget. 27. Denis D'Amour. Heavy metal has always been full of wild stories, but sometimes the most unbelievable moments come when a legend leaves far too soon. Denis D'Amour, known to fans as Piggy, was not just another guitarist in metal. He was one of the most creative minds the genre had ever seen. As the driving force behind Voivod's strange and futuristic sound, he helped shape a style that felt ahead of its time. His riffs sounded unusual, almost alien, yet they worked perfectly in the world of heavy metal. For years, fans watched him experiment with sounds that many bands would not even dare to try. Albums kept growing bigger, and Voivod slowly became one of the most respected names in underground metal. Everything seemed to be moving forward, and the band was still full of energy and ideas. Then, something shocking happened behind the scenes. Denis was diagnosed with a serious illness that few people outside the band knew about. While fans expected more music and more tours, his health quietly became worse. In the early 2000s, the news arrived that Denis D'Amour had passed away after battling cancer. The metal world suddenly realized how fragile even the most creative legends can be, and his passing left a deep mark on experimental metal forever. Before we move deeper into these unbelievable stories, take a quick second to support the channel. If heavy metal history like this fascinates you, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. Now let's continue the countdown. 26. Scott Columbus. Heavy metal often celebrates power, thunder, and unstoppable energy. Scott Columbus was the kind of drummer who embodied exactly that spirit. As a key member of Manowar, he helped build the band's larger-than-life sound. Fans knew him for his intense drumming style, which felt almost like a storm hitting the stage every night. Throughout the 1980s and beyond, Manowar built a reputation for epic performances and loyal fans across the world. Scott's presence behind the drum kit gave the music a sense of strength that perfectly matched the band's warrior image. For many fans, his sound became part of what made Manowar unforgettable. However, the story behind his later years was not as simple as the loud concerts suggested. Over time, he stepped away from the band and kept a lower profile compared to the spotlight he once lived in. Fans still remembered him as one of the most powerful drummers in classic heavy metal. Then, the unbelievable news spread through the metal community. Scott Columbus had passed away, leaving fans shocked and saddened. The details surrounding his death brought a quiet moment to a genre known for noise and chaos. Many realized that one of metal's thunderous hearts had suddenly fallen silent, marking the end of an era for longtime followers of Manowar. 25. Mitch Lucker. The modern era of heavy metal brought a new wave of energy, and Mitch Lucker stood right at the center of it. As the frontman of Suicide Silence, he helped push extreme metal into a new generation of fans. His stage presence was intense, chaotic, and unforgettable. Crowds felt the power of every performance, and the band quickly became one of the biggest names in modern metal. Everything seemed to be building toward an even bigger future. Albums were gaining attention, tours were packed, and the band's popularity continued growing around the world. Mitch looked like someone who would lead the genre for many years. Then, an unbelievable tragedy struck. One night, Mitch was involved in a devastating motorcycle crash. The accident shocked fans everywhere because it happened so suddenly, with no warning signs leading up to it. News spread quickly through the metal scene, and people struggled to believe that such a young and energetic star was gone. His passing left a massive gap in modern metal. Fans gathered online and at concerts to remember the impact he had made in such a short time. Even today, many still look back at Mitch Lucker as a symbol of how fast life can change in the world of heavy music. 24. Cheng. Heavy metal stories often involve chaos on stage, but sometimes the most unbelievable moments happen far away from the spotlight. Cheng, bassist of Deftones, was known for bringing depth and emotion to the band's music. His style helped shape the unique sound that made Deftones stand out in the metal world. For years, the band kept growing in popularity, releasing albums that blended heavy riffs with emotional atmosphere. Fans connected deeply with their music, and Chi became an important part of that connection. Everything seemed to be moving forward without any sign of what was about to happen. Then tragedy struck in a way no one expected. Cheng was involved in a serious car accident that changed everything. The crash left him in a coma, and suddenly the band and fans found themselves facing a long and painful wait. Instead of tours and new albums, there were updates about his health and hopes for recovery. Years passed as the metal community continued supporting him and his family. Many believed he might eventually recover, but in the early 2000s, the heartbreaking news arrived that Cheng had passed away. His story became one of the most emotional and unbelievable tragedies in modern metal history. 23. Paul Balof. Heavy metal has always thrived on raw energy, rebellion, and unforgettable voices. Paul Balof was one of those voices that felt impossible to ignore. As the early frontman of Exodus, he helped shape the explosive sound of thrash metal during the 1980s. His stage presence was wild, chaotic, and completely fearless, perfectly matching the aggressive music that fans were beginning to crave. During those early years, thrash metal was growing fast, and Exodus stood right in the middle of that movement. Paul's intense performances gave the band a reputation for shows that felt unpredictable and electrifying. Even after he stepped away from the group for a period of time, fans never forgot how powerful his presence had been. Later on, Balof returned to the band, and many people felt excited seeing one of thrash metal's original voices back where he belonged. It seemed like the story was coming full circle, with more music and performances still ahead. Then, something unbelievable happened. Paul Balof suffered a sudden stroke that changed everything overnight. The metal community was stunned because he had only recently returned to the stage. His passing felt especially shocking, as if one of the earliest flames of thrash metal had been extinguished far too soon, leaving behind a legacy built on pure intensity and passion. 22. Lars Petrov. Some deaths in heavy metal feel unbelievable because they silence voices that helped define an entire genre. Lars Petrov was exactly that kind of figure. As the frontman of Entombed, he became one of the most recognizable voices in Swedish death metal. His gritty vocals and energetic personality made the band stand out during the early days of extreme metal. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, death metal was growing rapidly, and Entombed played a major role in shaping the sound that came from Sweden. Their music felt heavy, dark, and powerful, and Petrov's voice became a signature element of that style. Fans across the world began to recognize his unique presence in the scene. For many years, he continued performing and recording, proving that his passion for music never faded. Concerts remained energetic, and fans still saw him as one of the most authentic figures in death metal. Then, heartbreaking news arrived. Lars Petrov revealed that he was battling a serious illness. The metal community rallied around him, sending support and hoping for recovery. Sadly, after fighting the disease with determination, he passed away in the early 2020s. His death felt unbelievable to many fans who had grown up hearing his voice define one of metal's most important movements. 21. Quorthon. Heavy metal history is full of mysterious and unbelievable stories, but few feel as surprising as the death of Quorthon. As the founder of Bathory, he helped shape both black metal and Viking metal, creating a sound that influenced countless bands around the world. What made his story even more unusual was how private he remained despite his huge impact on the genre. During the 1980s, Bathory released music that felt darker and more extreme than almost anything else at the time. Fans were drawn to the raw atmosphere and powerful ideas behind the music. Over the years, Quorthon continued experimenting, turning Bathory into something far bigger than a typical metal band. Unlike many artists in heavy metal, he avoided the spotlight and rarely appeared publicly. This mysterious personality made his work even more fascinating to fans who admired his creativity. Then the unbelievable news spread quietly through the metal world. Quorthon had passed away unexpectedly at home due to heart-related issues. Many fans were shocked because very little was known about his personal life or health. His sudden death left a strange silence in the genre he helped create, reminding everyone how one visionary artist can shape the sound of an entire movement. 20. Trevor Strnad. Heavy metal is known for its intensity, But sometimes the most unbelievable losses come from voices that seemed unstoppable. Trevor Strnad, the frontman of the Black Dahlia Murder, was one of the most recognizable figures in modern extreme metal. His powerful vocals and energetic personality helped the band become one of the biggest names in melodic death metal. From the early 2000s onward, the band built a strong following. Album after album, they delivered fast, aggressive music that fans loved. Trevor was not only known for his voice, but also for his enthusiasm and support for other bands in the metal community. Many people saw him as someone who truly loved the genre. Over the years, the band continued touring and releasing music, and it felt like their momentum would keep growing. Fans expected many more chapters in the story of the Black Dahlia Murder. Then the shocking news arrived that Trevor Strnad had passed away. The announcement stunned fans around the world, as many had just seen him performing and celebrating metal culture. His death felt unbelievable because he had been such a passionate and visible part of the scene, leaving behind a powerful mark on modern heavy music. 19. Warrel Dane. Heavy metal is filled with powerful voices, but some singers leave behind a presence that feels almost impossible to replace. Warrel Dane was one of those rare vocalists. As the frontman of Nevermore, he helped create a sound that blended heavy riffs with deep emotion and dark storytelling. His voice carried both strength and sadness, making the band stand out in the world of metal. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Nevermore gained a loyal following. Their music explored serious themes, and Warrel's dramatic vocal style became the heart of that sound. Fans admired how he could move between powerful high notes and haunting melodies. It made every performance feel unforgettable. Years later, Warrel began working on new music again, showing that his passion for heavy metal had never faded. Many fans were excited because it seemed like another strong chapter in his career was about to begin. He traveled overseas to record fresh material, and the anticipation started building. Then something unbelievable happened. While working on his new album, Warrel Dane suddenly suffered a heart attack and passed away. The news shocked the metal community because it happened right in the middle of creating new music. His death felt especially tragic, as if a powerful voice had been silenced just when another comeback was beginning. 18. Vinnie Paul. Sometimes, the most unbelievable deaths in heavy metal are connected to long and emotional histories. Vinnie Paul was known as the powerhouse drummer behind Pantera, one of the most influential metal bands ever. Alongside his brother Dimebag Darrell, he helped shape the band's heavy and aggressive sound that defined an era of metal. During the 1990s, Pantera rose to massive success, releasing albums that became classics in the genre. Vinnie's drumming style was loud, precise, and filled with energy, giving the band a powerful backbone. Fans often saw the bond between the two brothers as something special within the metal world. After Pantera eventually split, Vinnie and Dimebag started a new project called Damage Plan. However, tragedy struck in one of the most shocking moments in metal history when Dimebag was killed on stage. That event changed everything and left a deep scar across the entire music community. Years later, fans continued supporting Vinnie Paul as he kept performing and staying connected with metal. Then, another unbelievable loss occurred when he passed away unexpectedly due to heart-related issues. For many fans, it felt like the final chapter of a powerful era had quietly come to an end. 17. Joey Jordison. Heavy metal has produced many incredible drummers, but Joey Jordison stood in a league of his own. As a founding member of Slipknot, he helped create one of the most explosive and visually striking bands in modern metal. His fast, technical drumming became a signature element of the group's intense sound. When Slipknot emerged in the late 1990s, the band quickly captured attention with their masks, chaotic performances, and heavy music. Joey's drumming was a major part of that impact. He played with incredible speed and precision, making fans and musicians alike admire his talent. Many people considered him one of the best metal drummers of his generation. Over the years, Slipknot grew into a global force, selling out arenas and influencing countless bands. Even after Joey eventually left the group, fans continued to respect his role in building the band's identity. He remained an important figure in the metal world. Then the shocking news arrived that Joey Jordison had passed away unexpectedly. The announcement stunned fans everywhere, especially because he had seemed larger than life behind the drum kit. His death reminded the metal community how quickly even the most energetic and influential figures can be lost. 16. Alexi Laiho. Heavy metal often celebrates guitar heroes, and Alexi Laiho was one of the most respected among them. As the frontman and lead guitarist of Children of Bodom, he helped create a unique blend of melodic death metal and fast, technical playing. His guitar work amazed fans and inspired a whole new generation of musicians. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Children of Bodom quickly gained popularity. Their music combined aggression with melody in a way that felt exciting and fresh. Alexi's performances on stage were energetic, and his skill on the guitar became legendary among metal fans. For many years, the band toured around the world and built a strong following. Even as musical trends changed, Alexi remained a respected figure in the metal scene. His dedication to the craft of guitar playing never seemed to fade. Then an unbelievable loss shook the community. Alexi Laiho passed away after dealing with health problems that had developed over time. The news shocked fans because he had been such a central figure in modern metal guitar. His death left a noticeable gap in the world of heavy music, reminding everyone how rare true guitar heroes really are. 15. Layne Staley. Heavy music has always carried deep emotion, but some stories feel almost unbelievable because of how quietly they end. Layne Staley, the unforgettable voice of Alice in Chains, helped shape a darker and heavier side of rock and metal during the early 1990s. His haunting vocals and honest lyrics made millions of listeners feel understood during difficult times. As Alice in Chains grew in popularity, their music stood out for its heavy riffs and emotional depth. Songs explored pain, struggle, and inner battles in a way that felt very real. Layne's voice became one of the most recognizable sounds of that era. Fans connected with the honesty in his performances, and the band quickly became one of the most respected acts connected to heavy music. However, behind the success, Layne was facing serious personal struggles. Over time, he began stepping away from public life and rarely appeared outside his home. Many fans wondered what had happened, but very little information came out. Then one of the most shocking and unbelievable moments arrived. Layne Staley was found dead in his Seattle apartment after being alone for weeks. The news deeply affected the music world, reminding fans that even the most powerful voices sometimes suffer in silence. 14. Chester Bennington. Some losses in heavy music feel unbelievable because the artist seemed to be everywhere, inspiring millions of people at the same time. Chester Bennington, the powerful voice behind Linkin Park, was one of those artists. His ability to move between aggressive screams and emotional melodies made the band stand out in the early 2000s. Linkin Park quickly became one of the biggest bands connected to modern metal and alternative rock. Their music spoke to listeners who were dealing with anger, sadness, and personal struggles. Chester's voice carried those emotions in a way that felt genuine and unforgettable. Concerts were filled with fans singing every word, creating a deep connection between the band and its audience. Over the years, the group continued evolving, releasing albums and performing across the world. Chester remained a central figure in that success, often speaking openly about personal battles and mental health. Many people saw him as a voice that understood what they were going through. Then, an unbelievable tragedy shook the music world. Chester Bennington passed away suddenly, leaving fans stunned and heartbroken. His death sparked global conversations about mental health and emotional struggles, showing just how deeply his music had touched people everywhere. 13. Chris Cornell. Heavy metal and hard rock have produced many legendary singers, but few voices were as powerful and unique as Chris Cornell. As the frontman of Soundgarden and later Audioslave, he helped shape a sound that blended heavy guitars with emotional intensity. His wide vocal range made him stand out in a world filled with strong performers. During the rise of heavy music in the 1990s, Soundgarden became one of the most important bands of that time. Their music carried both heaviness and depth, and Chris Cornell's voice was at the center of it all. Fans admired how he could move from quiet melodies to explosive high notes with ease. Even after years in the spotlight, Chris continued touring and performing with incredible energy. Many people felt that his career was still strong and full of life. Concerts remained powerful, and fans kept showing up to hear that unforgettable voice. Then, something unbelievable happened shortly after a performance. Chris Cornell was found dead in a hotel room, shocking fans across the world. The sudden loss felt especially heartbreaking because it came at a time when he was still actively creating music, leaving a silence in heavy music that many listeners still feel today. 12. Øystein Aarseth. Heavy metal has seen many dramatic moments, but few stories are as shocking and unbelievable as the one involving Oystein Aarseth, known as Euronymous. As a founding member of Mayhem, he became a central figure in the early Norwegian black metal scene. His influence helped shape a movement that would later become both famous and controversial. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, the black metal scene in Norway began gaining attention for its extreme music and dark image. Euronymous was deeply involved in building that underground culture. Through his music, record store, and connections with other musicians, he helped create a scene that felt mysterious and intense. However, tensions and conflicts started growing within that same circle of musicians. What began as a creative movement slowly became surrounded by controversy and serious disagreements behind the scenes. Many fans had no idea how dangerous the situation was becoming. Then, one of the most unbelievable tragedies in metal history occurred. Euronymous was murdered after a violent conflict with another musician connected to the scene. The event shocked the entire metal world and forever changed the story of Norwegian black metal, turning it into one of the most infamous chapters in heavy music history. 11. Per Yngve Ohlin. Heavy metal has always explored dark imagery, but few stories in the genre feel as unbelievable and disturbing as the one surrounding Per Yngve Ohlin. Known to fans as Dead, as the vocalist of Mayhem, he became a central figure in the early Norwegian black metal scene. His stage presence was unlike anything people had seen before. Performances felt eerie and theatrical, and he often created an atmosphere that left audiences shocked and fascinated at the same time. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, black metal was growing into a movement defined by extreme music and dark themes. Death played a huge role in shaping that identity. Fans talked about how deeply he believed in the atmosphere of the music, often pushing performances into unsettling territory that made the band stand out in underground metal circles. However, behind the shocking stage image, there were serious personal struggles that many people did not fully understand. His behavior became more withdrawn and intense over time. Bandmates noticed that something was not right, but the situation quietly continued. Then, one of the most unbelievable tragedies in heavy metal occurred. A person died by suicide at a house shared with band members, leaving the scene stunned. The event became one of the most infamous moments in black metal history and permanently changed how people viewed the early Norwegian metal movement. 10. Chuck Schuldiner. Some deaths in heavy metal feel unbelievable because they take away the very people who helped create an entire genre. Chuck Schuldiner was widely known as the founder of the band Death and one of the pioneers of death metal itself. His vision pushed heavy music into new territory, combining aggression with technical skill and thoughtful songwriting. During the late 1980s and early 1990s, Death released albums that shaped the direction of extreme metal. Chuck constantly experimented with new ideas, adding complexity and melody to a style that many believed could only be raw and brutal. Fans admired how he kept evolving the sound instead of repeating the same formula. As the years passed, Chuck continued writing music and influencing younger bands across the world. Many people saw him as a leader in the metal community, someone who proved that heavy music could also be intelligent and creative. Everything seemed to point toward many more groundbreaking projects ahead. Then, an unbelievable challenge appeared. Chuck was diagnosed with a serious brain tumor, and the metal community quickly rallied to support him. Despite efforts to fight the illness, he passed away in the early 2000s. His death felt devastating because it silenced one of the most important innovators in the history of heavy metal. 9. The Rev. Heavy metal often celebrates drummers who bring explosive energy to the music, and the Rev was exactly that kind of artist. As the drummer and songwriter for Avenged Sevenfold, he helped shape the band's sound during their rise in the 2000s. His playing style was fast, creative, and full of personality, making him one of the standout drummers of modern metal. As the band gained popularity, fans noticed that the Rev was more than just a drummer. He contributed ideas that shaped the direction of their albums and performances. Concerts became bigger, and the band's reputation kept growing. It felt like Avenged Sevenfold was heading toward an even larger future, with him at the center of their creativity. Then something unbelievable happened that shocked the entire metal community. The Rev was found dead at home at a very young age. The loss felt sudden and deeply tragic, especially because the band was in the middle of planning new music. In the aftermath, the band released an album that became a tribute to him, turning grief into something meaningful for fans. His passing reminded everyone how quickly life can change, even for musicians who seemed unstoppable on stage. 8. Paul Gray. Heavy metal is filled with intense personalities, but sometimes the most unbelievable losses come from the quiet figures who hold a band together. Paul Gray, bassist and founding member of Slipknot, was known as a calm and thoughtful presence within one of the most chaotic bands in metal history. Behind the masks and explosive performances, he played a major role in shaping the group's sound. When Slipknot emerged in the late 1990s, they quickly became one of the most talked-about bands in heavy music. Their aggressive style and unique image captured attention worldwide. Paul's bass playing added depth and heaviness that helped define the band's identity. Fans often saw him as someone who balanced the wild energy of the group. Over the years, Slipknot grew into a global phenomenon, selling out arenas and building a massive following. Even with all that success, Paul remained respected as one of the band's original creative forces. Then one of the most shocking moments in modern metal happened. Paul Gray was found dead in a hotel room during a break from touring. The news stunned fans everywhere, and the band later appeared publicly without their masks to honor him, showing how deeply his loss affected everyone involved. 7. Jeff Hanneman. Heavy metal history is full of unbelievable twists, and the story of Jeff Hanneman is one that still surprises many fans. As a founding guitarist of Slayer, he helped shape one of the most aggressive and influential sounds in thrash metal. His riffs powered songs that became essential parts of the genre, pushing heavy music into darker and faster territory. During the 1980s and beyond, Slayer built a reputation for intense albums and unforgettable live shows. Jeff's guitar work played a major role in that success. Fans admired how his writing combined speed, heaviness, and atmosphere in a way that felt unique. Many classic songs carried his creative fingerprint, helping the band stand among the biggest names in metal. Then something strange and unexpected happened that few people could have predicted. Jeff developed a serious infection after a spider bite, which caused major health complications. Recovery took time, and fans hoped he would eventually return fully to the stage. However, the situation became more complicated as the years went on. In the early 2000s, Jeff Hanneman passed away due to liver failure. The news shocked the metal world because many people still believed he would one day fully return to the spotlight. His death marked the loss of a guitarist who helped define the sound of thrash metal forever. 6. Ronnie James Dio. Some voices in heavy metal feel larger than life, and Ronnie James Dio was definitely one of them. Known for his powerful vocals and dramatic stage presence, he became a legend through his work with bands like Rainbow, Black Sabbath, and his own group, Dio. His singing style gave heavy metal a sense of fantasy and epic storytelling that fans loved. Throughout the 1970s, 1980s, and beyond, Dio's voice remained strong and instantly recognizable. Many fans also credit him with helping popularize the famous devil horns hand gesture that became a symbol of metal culture. Concerts felt magical when he performed, as if every song carried a story. For decades, Ronnie continued touring and recording music, showing that his passion for heavy metal never faded. Even as he grew older, his performances remained energetic and inspiring. Fans believed he would keep singing for many more years. Then, something unbelievable changed everything. Ronnie James Dio was diagnosed with stomach cancer, a battle that quickly became serious. The metal community united in support, hoping for a recovery. Sadly, he passed away after fighting the illness with courage. His death felt especially heartbreaking because his voice had become one of the most iconic sounds in the entire history of heavy metal. 5. Lemmy Kilmister. Heavy metal has produced many unforgettable personalities, but few were as legendary as Lemmy Kilmister. As the frontman of Motorhead, he represented the loud, fast, and rebellious spirit of the genre. His gravelly voice, thunderous bass playing, and fearless attitude made him one of the most recognizable figures in rock and metal. For decades, Lemmy lived a lifestyle that seemed almost impossible to slow down. Motorhead toured constantly, releasing albums and performing around the world. Fans often joked that he was unstoppable because he kept playing with the same energy year after year. His presence became a symbol of pure rock and roll endurance. Even in his later years, Lemmy continued performing live shows, proving that his dedication to music had never faded. Many fans believed he would keep going forever, just like he always had. That is what made the next moment feel so unbelievable. Shortly after celebrating his 70th birthday, Lemmy was diagnosed with an aggressive form of cancer. The news came as a shock because it happened so suddenly. Only a few days later, he passed away, leaving fans stunned across the world. His death felt unreal to many people who had always seen him as one of the toughest and most enduring figures in heavy metal history. 4. Randy Rhoads. Some stories in heavy metal feel unbelievable because they end just as a legend is rising. Randy Rhoads was one of the most talented guitarists of his generation, known for blending classical music influences with powerful metal riffs. As the guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne's solo band, he quickly became a standout figure in the early 1980s. Fans were amazed by his skill on the guitar. His playing sounded both technical and emotional, bringing something fresh to heavy metal at the time. Albums featuring Randy gained huge attention, and many believed he would become one of the greatest guitarists the genre had ever seen. While touring with the band, an unexpected situation led to one of the most shocking tragedies in metal history. During a break from traveling, Randy joined a small plane ride meant to be a quick flight. What was supposed to be a harmless moment turned dangerous when the pilot attempted risky low passes near the tour bus. The situation ended in disaster when the plane crashed and exploded. Randy Rhoads died at a very young age, leaving fans and musicians stunned. His unbelievable death cut short a career that many believed was only just beginning, turning him into one of the most remembered guitar heroes in heavy metal history. 3. Cliff Burton. Heavy metal has seen many shocking losses, but the death of Cliff Burton remains one of the most unbelievable tragedies the genre has ever faced. As the bassist of Metallica during their early rise in the 1980s, he was not just another band member. Cliff played bass like it was a lead instrument, bringing melody, power, and creativity that helped define the band's early sound. During those years, Metallica was quickly becoming one of the most exciting bands in heavy music. Albums were gaining attention, concerts were growing larger, and fans could see that the band had a special chemistry. Cliff's musical ideas pushed the group in bold directions, and many people believed he would shape the future of metal for decades. While touring across Europe, something unbelievable happened that changed everything overnight. Members of the band drew cards to decide sleeping bunks on their tour bus. Cliff won and took another member's bunk shortly before the bus continued traveling through Sweden. In the early morning hours, the bus hit black ice on the road and crashed. Cliff Burton was thrown from the vehicle and died instantly. The metal world was stunned by how sudden the tragedy was. His death not only devastated Metallica, but also left a lasting mark on heavy metal history. 2. Dimebag Darrell. Some deaths in heavy metal feel unbelievable because they happen right in front of fans who came to celebrate music. Dimebag Darrell, the legendary guitarist of Pantera, was known for his powerful riffs and unique playing style that helped reshape modern metal. His guitar tone and energy made him one of the most respected musicians in the genre. During the 1990s, Pantera rose to massive success, releasing albums that defined an entire era of heavy music. Dimebag's playing stood at the center of that sound. Fans admired how effortlessly he could move between crushing riffs and unforgettable solos. Even after Pantera eventually broke apart, his passion for music continued. He later formed a new band called Damageplan with his brother Vinnie Paul. The group began performing live shows, and fans were excited to see him back on stage again. Everything seemed to be moving forward with new possibilities. Then, one of the most shocking and unbelievable moments in metal history happened. During a concert in Columbus, Ohio, an attacker rushed onto the stage and opened fire. Dimebag Darrell was killed in front of fans and bandmates. The tragedy stunned the entire music world and led to major changes in concert security across the industry. 1. Peter Steele. Heavy metal has always mixed darkness with drama, but the story of Peter Steele feels unbelievable because of how strange and unexpected parts of it were. As the frontman of Type O Negative, he created a unique sound that blended gothic atmosphere with heavy riffs. His deep voice and dark humor made him one of the most recognizable personalities in metal. During the 1990s, Type O Negative built a strong following with music that felt emotional, heavy, and sometimes mysterious. Fans connected with the band's style because it was different from anything else happening in metal at the time. Peter's presence on stage and in interviews often made him seem larger than life. At one point, something unusual happened that many fans still remember. A false report spread claiming that Peter Steele had died, which later turned out to be a prank connected to the band's dark sense of humor. The moment confused many people, but also became part of metal culture stories. Years later, the real and heartbreaking news arrived. Peter Steele passed away due to heart failure. Because of the earlier false reports, many fans initially struggled to believe it was true. His death became one of the most unbelievable and emotional losses in gothic and heavy metal history. And there you have it, 27 heavy metal legends whose ending shocked fans and left the music world stunned. Some stories still feel unreal, while others remind you just how unpredictable life can be, even for the biggest icons on stage. Their music may never fade, but the way many of them left continues to spark questions and conversations among fans everywhere. Now it's your turn. Which of these stories surprised you the most, and which one did you never hear about before? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next shocking story waiting to be uncovered.